Maybe. Hi.
Yeah. So, hello everyone. Today we are going to present you a business case of the implementation of the Vimachem Pharma MES. We chose this title for our presentation, and we can explain a little bit why this was the title that we chose. So we started working with Vimachem already 1 year ago with the implementation of the OEE system. But what we think about the digitalization of the shop floor, we only started in the end of last year, beginning of this year, with the implementation of the waiting and dispense, and started thinking about the electronic batch record and electronic logbooks too. So, like our colleague presented, my name is Pedro, and I work at IBERFAR for the IT department as a project manager. I have Hugo with me, who is on the production side and is responsible for the digitalization. And we have our colleague, Alex, the executive director of Vimachem.
So, hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Going now to the main topics that we'll talk about on this presentation. We'll start by giving you a quick overview of IBERFAR, a little bit of what we do on the daily basis, the size of our company, what were our expectations going forward with this project with Vimachem, and also, based on our needs, why did we select Vimachem, what were the strong points that they offered us to select this solution, and then we'll talk about a bit about the team that was responsible for the implementation of this solution, what were the core elements and the importance of having a dedicated team for these projects, and then we'll talk about the implementation phases of the solution, the achievements we were able to collect so far, and what were the main challenges we had along the process. On phase one, as Pedro said, we started by OEE because it was an easier module to deploy, because it's a tool that doesn't impact so much the GMP requirements, because it's like a monitoring performance tool. Then we moved forward to WDM, which is the weighing and dispensing system, and right now we are currently and almost finishing the implementation of eBR and the electronic logbooks. And at the end of the presentation, we'll talk with you about some of the key learnings of this journey, what were the challenges that we faced along the way, and also to provide you some feedback and maybe some things we can relate between peers and companies. So just going quickly about IBERFAR, we are a company based on Lisbon. We are a private pharma group, and we also have a EU GMP certified plant. Our group is composed of some companies, but we'll be focusing on IBERFAR, which is the company where the production of the pharmaceutical forms occurs. We are a CMO for both solid and liquid forms. We do the manufacturing for these products and also the packaging of the final product that we sell at pharmacies and that we provide to the end consumer. Currently, we supply medicines for 60+ countries worldwide, and we have been producing around 8 million finished product units yearly. So this is kind of our dimension.
So, what is Vimachem Pharma MES and why did we decide to go with it? So first of all, and I think it's very important to say this about MES, despite being just one platform, it's a modular platform. So as you can see, we have here a lot of modules, and right now we are not working for all of them. Like Hugo said, we already implemented the OEE and waiting and dispense, and now we are going for the eBR and electronic logbooks. One really good thing about this MES for Vimachem is that is 100% done for pharma, and I think we all experience this, so we know a system that works for a lot of industries, and then when we try to implement it in pharma, because it's so regulated, we find some issues, and because Vimachem already thought about this previously, we don't have those issues that we have with another systems that happens a lot. We have here another things, but another thing that IBERFAR asked me to say is that it's a SaaS commercial model. It's fixed total costs of ownership, and until now, and we hope it stays like this, 0 hidden costs, and yeah, that's a good thing. So to start this digitalization, we thought of implementing a team. And what did we thought about the team? It has to have the right people. We structured in 3 different directions. So the IT one, the production one, and the QA. We tried it to don't have a really big team, because when we have a lot of people doing an implementation, sometimes it's counterintuitive, because a lot of people have some ideas, and then we can't go forward with one idea because everyone is pushing for his side. So basically what we tried to do was leveling, and the ones that are most part of the job is the low line, and then we have to report it to the higher lines and don't have too many people pushing for his side.
Yeah, I know it wasn't planned, but just a quick comment here. I think a big reason for the ability to implement fast and have a successful project is really this structure. There is executive sponsorship by the general manager that can mobilize the teams. There is 3 strong directors by QA, IT, and production that can make fast decisions. And there is a team on the day-to-day of users that are true experts of the system. So that has been a huge success of the project so far.
Exactly. Thank you, Alex.
Exactly. So going here in more detail about the phases that I mentioned earlier, as I was saying, we started by deploying successfully the OEE module across 3 packaging lines, 2 blistering solid lines, and 1 for liquids. So this module was really quick to deploy. In the next slide, I will show you the timeline of the project, by what weeks we were finishing the different tasks. And immediately after we start getting data from this software, we identified an immediate return of our investment, because we were able to tackle the main stoppage reasons and the main issues we had in the packaging lines, and start increasing our efficiency and also uptime. This system also allowed us to have real-time visibility into the shop floor. That was something that we didn't have in our shop floor. Even though we kept some record of how the lines were performing using more traditional tools like Excel or Power BI, we didn't use a tool that was always live watching the production. So this tool really helped us with that. And also, this first implementation helped change the cultural mindset of the team, because in our company, we were not used to work with the MES software, and people were not really used to it. And by starting with a module that was more simple to understand, to interact, it really helped going forward with more complex modules. After that, as Pedro was saying, in January 2025, we started implementing weighing and dispense. Of course, this process, because of the high compliance and GMP requirements, yes, because we are handling raw materials used to produce medicines, it's much more complex than OEE. But even though we were able to overcome the challenge we had, and our purpose with this module was to reduce manual errors, manual input from the operators, being registering things on paper or manual inputting in our ERP system, and also to minimize the errors. The system also checks the raw material lots we use. It checks the weights. It checks the quantities that are allocated for each batch run. So it really helps us a lot. And of course, based on the trust we got from the team from the implementation of OEE, the implementation of WDM was much easier. And right now, we are ongoing with the implementation of eBR. We were already able to digitalize some of our generic master batch records from both packaging and manufacturing of solids and liquids. And our objective, our final objective, is to consolidate and implement this tool across all operations from the start until the end of production of each batch, and assure, of course, full compliance and data integrity from these operations. And as Pedro said, this was all done in a modular approach. Each module is completely separated from each other, and then it integrates in a large system. So we were able to deploy each module individually, and that made the job a lot easier to reach our ultimate goal. So as I was saying, we have here like a timeline of the process of the implementation of EE. We kicked off the project last year on September, and by week 3, we did all the installation on the packaging lines. We used the sensors, the control and security sensors from the packaging machines to have visibility on the units that were going through the machine to calculate the efficiency of the line. All the 3 lines were connected and integrated, and we did all the training of the operators who learned really quickly how to work with the system. And we also have machines that are from different ages, different suppliers, so Vimachem was also able to adapt to these different characteristics. And by week 4, we also had the go live of the project. We could it even done it earlier, but we also had to install some extra sensors because some of the sensors of the machines were not accessible because of the protocol, the security protocol, but we were able to install third-party sensors and integrate them with the Vimachem system, and it worked out really well. And by week 5, we were already receiving data from the packaging lines. We were able to get reports and start problem solving, start identifying the main stop reasons, the stop reasons that made us stop more time and with more frequency. So it was really nice, and there we have a picture with the Vimachem technician after we installed the system. As I was saying, by week 5, we already had data regarding the increase in efficiency in the lines, and as you can see, on the top table, we have the increase we had in the OEE of both the solid lines, which are the first 2, and for the third line. And up until that moment, we didn't have any track or any record of the OEE. So with Vimachem, we also started monitoring this line. And these were the key metrics we achieved. We had an increase in uptime, in efficiency. We had more visibility and identification of the stop reasons. As you can see here in the table below, is in Portuguese, but basically what is listed there are the main stop reasons, the stop duration, the frequency which they happen, and also the percentage of time they hold on our stop reasons. And so this data is also really easy to obtain. We don't have to spend time using platforms like Power BI or Excel to work on this data, so that's also really nice. And below you can see also some KPIs that we measured after the implementation of OEE, and this is the proof that digitalization can create measurable results really, really quickly.
So now for the waiting and dispense, we have here the timeline. As you can see, it took a little bit of time, but we had a different approach for WDM than we have for the OEE. So right here, we didn't want to just implement something really quick that wasn't that strong, because OEE, we had such a good feedback of our users that we wanted to have it the same here. So after the first day of implementation, we wanted to have something that didn't occur in a lot of errors and didn't have extra work for our workers to have. And the approach that we had here was we don't want just to digitalize the waiting and print less labels. What we want is for our final approach of the waiting, we want to do less steps, so we want to improve our work daily. And here, as you can see, on week 19, we already had the validation, but because we wanted to have everything so well integrated with the ERP, that's what made this project become a little bit longer. For the 24th week and the 35th week, we did the second validation with the ERP integration already. And we have a quick video, and I can show you exactly what the waiting and dispense does, and can explain you where we have the ERP integration and why it took so long. So here we have the platform. First of all, we have our work in progress. So we chose one order to wait. Here is an integration that we'll have in the future with the eBR to see if the scales are already clean and the booth is already clean or not. we can see what's the problems of the material. And here we are scanning a lot. For example, here we have already an ERP integration where we can see the picking list that we have and the allocated materials, so that when the worker is doing, selects the product to weight, it already appears there the batch numbers that he has to select. So for example, if in the shop floor we have a lot of batches to weight, he knows exactly what the batch is that the ERP is expecting to receive in that consumption. And while we were validating, we also had some issues. One of them was what happens if we already have the consumption and we already integrated this consumption with the ERP, and one bag before starting the production rips it off. So these kind of issues we didn't face in phase one, but while we were testing with the operators, we saw that there was room to improvement, and that's why it took a little bit more time.
So after all this going back and forth and development of the platform, and also us getting used to it, we, in the end, when we got to the go-live phase, we achieved all these main benefits, which are, of course, the increased accuracy and compliance, because now the system automatically checks if the weighings we are doing are correct. We are no longer dependent on the visual confirmation of the operators the moment they print the labels from the scales terminal. So now the system doesn't allow them to weigh more than they should. The system has like an interval of tolerance for the quantities. There is a reduced risk of GMP deviations and human error. They will not be able to use material lots that they are not supposed to. So that's a big thing. They cannot use raw materials that are in quarantine or from lots that are not supposed to be in the weighing booths. Now we have also complete visibility and traceability of all the weighing operations that are performed. This is also really useful for the operators, because sometimes they have to weigh so many materials that they lose a bit of track of how much they did, how many there are left, and now we have complete visibility of this. We know exactly on which point our work is. And also, we have real-time integration with upstream and downstream processes. Upstream, for example, the picking lists for the batch runs, and also the batch runs that are released from our ERP to the weighing system. And then downstream, the consumption of the materials that will update the stock available of those materials, and also also the returns we do to the warehouse. So the system allows us to have all the systems connected into one. And then, of course, the efficiency gains. We lose less time filling in paperwork, filling in manual inputs, so that's very important. Everything is more streamlined. All the instructions for the operators are on the screen. And we also have been able to reduce the number of paper labels we have been printing for this process, because, as Pedro said, we didn't only want to transform the weighing operation into something digital, we also tried to improve the operation itself to be more efficient. And at the end, one thing that is really important is the operator adoption. All the tasks become much easier. The system is very user-friendly, and we have here a quote from one of our operators, which is Anabela Claro. She's actually 65 years old. She's been working on our company for 40 years old, and she's always talking about retirement, I want to rest, and so on. But after using this system, this novelty, she was very happy, and a person that is not used to new technology, she was able to work with it with ease, so we were really happy by that, and she's been working with it as I'm talking right now, because we are working right now. And going here forward to the...
So now for the EBR and the ELog books, we already started 7 weeks ago. Actually, we started a little bit before, but it wasn't full focused on EBR, so we don't count as it. But 7 weeks ago, we had 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago actually, our first on-site workshop, so that Vimachem can see how we work, all our processes. They already been there for the waiting and dispense, but they didn't see the old process, just the waiting. Now Vimachem went there to see all the processes that we have, just to start digitalizing our batch records and see how they can parameterize the application. 1 week ago, we had our first general master batch record, and now we are testing it, parameterizing it, and trying to optimize it. Here on the EBR, we are going to have a little bit of a different approach that we had on waiting and dispense, because waiting and dispense was more simple than electronic batch records. So first of all, we are just trying to digitalize what the paperwork that we have nowadays, and on a second phase, that's the full world of the master batch record that we want to fetch information for our machines, for the humidity of a room, the temperature of the room, the pressure of that room, and that's going to be on a second phase. But right now, what we are really aiming for is just to digitalize everything that we had on paper. Right now, we have a video of how we can parameterize the electronic batch record. Like Hugo said, for us, it's really good that the operator finds it easy to work with the HMI, but one difficult that we have at IBERFAR is that we are really dependent on our suppliers. So they deploy a system, and 1 week, 1 year later, we want a new update, a new feature, and we always have to grab the phone and ask our customers, our suppliers to help us doing that. But as you can see right here with the electronic batch record, that's something really easy to parameterize, and they are giving us the right information just so we can be not that dependent in the near future, and if we have a new product or a new process, we can just be independent and do that ourselves.
So I've been hearing from my MES consulting team that one of you is starting to learn the product better than us.
Yeah.
Who is using it? Is it you?
It was me. Yeah.
Okay.
Like I have some kind of knowledge with no-code and low-code platforms, and Vimachem one is not different than the others that we already know. So after 1 week of working with that and trying to do some testing in the test environment, I can already talk with Vimachem like the platform, I was building the platform, and that's not the case. So it's very easy to understand. You don't need a lot of knowledge, and I'm in the IT department, but I don't have an IT studies, actually. So it's just, I learned on my own how to work with low codes and no code platforms and have kind of general knowledge of IT language, and that's enough to work nowadays with this kind of applications, and that's really good.
He was telling me this morning that he started to use the tool without reading the manual, and I was telling him good software doesn't need manual.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and just giving a comment on this, a lot of companies, when they implement these solutions, they of course depend a lot in technical and people that understand a lot about software, but some of us, our background is more operational, is more focused on the production of the medicine. My background is pharmaceutical, so I'm a pharmacist, but being able to work with a platform that is so user-friendly, that I can code using these features that are really easy to use, that's really important to put the power of construction, the digital EBRs in the hands of the people that know the process, the pharmaceutical people, instead of only the technical people. Of course, both are really important for the success of these implementations, but it's important to give the ability to build EBRs and this kind of process-related operations to the people that know the process better. So Vimachem has been great on providing us exactly that. And just to summarize a bit of what we have been talking about EBR, as Pedro was saying, we already designed the generic master batch records for the solid and liquid packaging lines, and we're planning on starting with the manufacturing as well. We have parameterized these generic master batch records, so they can fetch the individual data from each product because they have different parameters for the speed of the blistering machines, the temperatures, the amount of blisters per carton, the size of the carton, all those small parameters that matter. We also compiled all that information and we'll upload it to the platform so we can start using the generic master batch record. And then, as Pedro was saying, in the future, we plan to optimize these master batch records to identify redundant steps in our process, maybe related to the IPCs, maybe related to double or triple or quadruple checks that we pharmacists always are insistent on doing, and try to find those redundant problems. So in the first step, our plan to digitalize the EBRs will be more simple. We'll transform the paper on glass, and then in the step 2, we'll try to make it a little bit more complex, try to integrate the EBRs directly with the machines, the packaging machines, but also the mixers, the fluid bed dryers, the systems that manage the temperature and pressure of the rooms, and that way we'll reduce completely the manual input from the operators and from the people involved in the process. So this approach was decided to minimize disruption on the shop floor, because we want to implement these solutions, but we don't want to stop working and being efficient. So we have to balance both these important points. And now, to conclude, we'll talk about the key learnings of this journey. And first of all, of course, it's important to have realistic timelines. We all hope to implement these systems in the faster way possible, but we know they take time. Sometimes they have to go back a bit and then go forward. And we also had that. We had some challenges related to the integration of our systems, of our machines, but in the end, in cooperation with Vimachem, we were able to surpass these challenges and build a robust platform that gives us confidence on the process. Along with the digitalization of our process, we also improved our operations. We found redundant steps, we found the inefficiency, and we were able to change it. This change is also very focused on the user, on the people that work with the system, with the training we provide them. And as you could see in the videos we showed, the system is very user-friendly. It's almost like using an app on your phone, so everyone can use it very easily. And also, it's very important to be able to divide this implementation into blocks, to have this modular approach so we can do it independently and try to disrupt as minimal as possible the shop floor, because while we are doing the integration in one area of the shop floor, the others can keep working as normal as they do, so that's also nice. We also talked about the importance of having a dedicated team that can make quick decisions, that can have a fast communication, because sometimes when the ladder to the important people is too big, we lose time with this kind of decisions. So it's nice to have a team that is dedicated and can move the process faster. And also, as Pedro said, the platform is very low code, no code, so it's designed for the end users. Vimachem provides us with the platform, and after giving us training, we are able to build our own EBRs, our own logbooks, to monitor our packaging lines, to recover that data without needing the supplier to always be there providing support or feedback. So it's really configurable and easy to use. And of course, in the end, it's very important to have a close relationship with the supplier, so we can have small customizations or improvements in the platform that might be implemented with our feedback. So overall, these are the main key points we wanted to transmit to you, and we hope you like our presentation.